Hello, and welcome to Rave History. Today we're going to take a look at global cycles. And global cycles are rooted in the Hindu Brahmin astrological understanding of the precession of the equinox and its importance. In other words, our background movement, the vast movement of the way in which we operate relative to the solar system and the galaxy. The fact is that the precession of the equinox marks vast movements of time. And in these vast movements of time are values, that is, background frequencies, that in understanding them explain so much about the various ages that we move through. In human design, they are called global cycles. And this measurement of the precession of the equinox is measured uniquely through the Rave mandala and through the operation of the G-center, through a lock and key system through the G-center that in fact, in the way in which it works, connects to the entire mandala, to the wheel itself. We have been in a global cycle that began in 1615. It's a long time ago. It's called the cycle of the cross of planning. It's called the cross of planning because the precession of the equinox, that its primary point was in the 37th gate, the opposition being the 40. The 37 and the 40 are the fundamental arm of the cross of planning, along with the 9th gate and the 16th gate. We are living in a cross of planning cycle. Now, because of the precession of the equinox, it moves against the grain. That is, it moves in a retrograde fashion. It is moving according to what we would call a clockwise motion. So it is moving backwards through the wheel, backwards through the lines. The global cycle that we are in began when the precession of the equinox was in the 37th gate in the 6th line. It entered into the 1st line in 1960. It will close this cycle in 2027. Now think about this cross of planning. A background frequency is very, very deep and profound. And it is a frequency that is there, that guides us and shapes us, and has been doing so for hundreds of years. Coincidental to 1615 was the enormous explosion of what became known as the industrial age. The cross of planning, the 4037, is the channel of community. It is this channel of community that establishes our fundamental codes for the way in which our civilizations have developed. It is the bond of the community to protect itself, to have its religion, to be able to have its resources, to defend itself. All of the things that became the bedrock of what are our modern civilization and the way in which we operate relative to each other. The fact is that the 4037 brought the contractual agreement between those that govern and those that are governed. It is the 4037 in its inherent bargain that has created the ability for human beings to live in vastly, vastly overpopulated environments and still manage to do so with some kind of, well, peacefulness. Along with the 4037, the 9 and the 16, two logical gates. One of them a gate of great detail, and the other the gate of enthusiasm, the 16, all about our potential for talent. We have been living in an age in which the detail of talent has created the secular knowledge that is there to protect us. The rise of, the secular godhead, medicine as an example, science as an example, the industrialization of the world. The way in which, for example, we have been educated, the way in which educational institutions were developed, all of the background frequencies that we take for granted, the way in which our society operates, the way in which we, develop in these societies, the structures that are there, the institutions that are there. There is a vanity in human beings that assumes that these are theirs, that we built it, that we wanted to build it, and that we're going to look after it in the future. And it's not the case. This cycle, this cross of planning cycle, that began with the words of Shakespeare, This cross of planning cycle will come to an end in February of 2027, and a whole new cycle will begin on this plane. It is going to change our world. It is going to change it greatly. The inherent bargain that binds us all, that bargain inherent in the 4037, is a bargain that's breaking down. You can see it in the institutions of the world today. You can see that they're beginning to sink into the sand. One cycle coming to an end, another one will soon begin.